Welcome to the finish line with Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and today I've been working on getting this quilt quilted. And it is such an easy pattern that I thought I would share that quilting design with you. It has a snowball and a friendship star. And I'm going from a point to a point in that snowball block. Straight lines, nothing fancy. I'm just hitting each point as I go along. Now this is a pattern that can be done on a domestic machine. You would just need to draw the lines, put the walking foot on, and go. But with a sit-down machine, I'm going to be able to use some rulers, and I'm going to be able to use just a little bit of markings on that border. Now you can get a few little tools that can help us mark that 1/4 inch or find that 1/4 inch so that we can use the rulers. It's quick and easy. Let me jump in and show you where I'm at. So here's the quilt that I've been working on. I have a snowball and a friendship star. So I've decided I'm just going to sew this in a grid line. To do that, I needed to find some points. So I decided to do those 8 points in that snowball block. Those snowball blocks are in a row going in both directions. So those are the ones that I am going to join up. I'm going to go from this point straight to that point, and I'm going to continue over. So those lines will match up all the way down that quilt. So what I've been working on is I have been taking those lines and quilting them in this direction, following those points. And I've come right onto that border. So I'm going to do them all in one direction and then turn and do them in the other direction. So you can either use ruler work or just go to the home machine, draw your lines, and start stitching. My stitches are going to go on a diagonal, so I am going to fold up the bulk of that quilt on an angle. And that way I do not have as much dragging down on my lap. I will be using that special walking foot that's going to run along that straight edge of the ruler. And I'm going to be using one of these little things that are going to help me with my 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can get many different ones. This one is from Wesley, and this one here is from Silly Moon. What I'm looking for is a little 1/4 inch measurement. So I have a 1/4 inch, 1/2, 1/8 on both of these. So you can get many different styles. Because I am going to be using that snowball as my mark, I'm going to go from this corner to this corner straight. So just to show you with a large ruler, I'm hitting this point and this point. So I'm going to stitch here all the way down through that snowball and over. We'll also be going from that point to that point. So you can see where I'm going to have that long line. I do like to mark a little bit on this outside border, and I'm just going to use some chalk, but I can use this long ruler. I'm going to hit that point and that point. And this is just a metal ruler that I bought at the hardware store. It is a yardstick, but you can get them in metal. So I'm going to just go along that edge. So you can see that marking line. And the next. These lines are going to be stitching lines. Now if you have a ruler that has 1/4 inch markings, well, that's going to work great. But if not, that's where one of these little markers can come in handy. So there's that 1/4 inch mark. And I want the stitching line to go here. So I can put that little 1/4 inch right there in that mark and then put that ruler right up against it. But now as that foot goes and follows the ruler, it's going to maintain that 1/4 inch. So I can stitch, stop, move that ruler, put that 1/4 inch so this butts right up against it, and continue stitching. Let me show you how this will all go together on the machine. So this is the line I want to stitch on, but I'm going to be able to put that foot down and the needle down right along that line. Now I happen to have that little corner so I could match it up. But if you don't have that, this is where this is going to come in handy. I could put that right there. So that's going to be the stitching line, and that ruler will go right up against it. So now I could just hold this down and stitch. And it doesn't matter where I stop. I'm going to be able to move the ruler, use my little 1/4 inch mark, put him right there on that corner on the stitching line, and move that ruler right against that corner. And continue stitching. Slide that ruler, put that little 1/4 inch, slide that ruler over, and keep stitching. So it doesn't matter the size of the ruler. We're just going to be able to continuously slide that, put that right there where we want that mark, slide that ruler over, and continue. This really does give me the perfect 1/4 inch. So there is that first row of stitching. I'm going to continue and do all of those rows in one direction. So I'm starting at one corner and I'm going all the way up. I will then turn the quilt over and start on another corner. So when we look at the pattern, I have a large space and a small space, a large and a small. I'm going to take this measurement and continue it to the side. So I have a small, I'm going to do a large and a small and a large if I have room. Once I have done all of those lines, I'm going to unroll it and start going in the other direction. So I'm going to follow the 2 other corners of that snowball block. So throughout the pattern, I do have this little square in the middle of my snowball block. My star is framed, which gives me a small channel and a larger, small and larger. And I just continued that on the border so it has that uniform look to it. I did use a nice polka dot back so you really don't see that stitching. The last thing I'll need to do is do a row of stitching all the way around the edge to anchor all of those threads, trim it, and bind it. The quilt is now done. I love doing straight line quilting, sort of this grid line. We just need to find some points that we can continue and just do the entire quilt hitting those key corners. We can mark it first, bring it to our domestic machine, put the walking foot on and just get it done, or use some ruler work on the quilting machine. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I do have a newsletter. It's all free under Sew Very Easy. Thanks for joining me today. Bye for now.